Hello, friend. I am Neil Tyson, and tonight I will be your guide on a journey that takes us away from the familiar scattered lights of the sky and into the deep, comforting embrace of the world beneath our feet. We often spend our time looking up, marveling at the stellar nurseries where stars are born, or the vast, silent vacuum that stretches between galaxies. We look to the cosmos for a sense of scale, for a feeling of infinity. But there is another infinity, one that is intimate, quiet, and profoundly still. It is the infinity of the interior, the hidden universe within our own planet. Tonight, I invite you to let go of the day's gravity. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow to a gentle, rhythmic tide, and allow your mind to drift with me. We are going to explore the hollow spaces of the earth, the cathedrals of stone carved by water and time. We will descend into the cool, unchanging climate of the underground, exploring 100 fascinating facts about caves and caverns. But do not worry about memorizing these facts. Let them simply wash over you like a subterranean river, smooth and mesmerizing, carrying you toward a deep and restful sleep. When we think of the Earth, we often imagine a solid, impenetrable sphere of rock and iron spinning silently in the velvet darkness of space. But if we were to look with the eyes of a geologist, or perhaps with the penetrating gaze of a neutrino passing through the planet, we would see that the Earth's crust is not entirely solid. It is porous. It is a honeycomb of mysteries. Just as a sponge holds space within its structure, the limestone bedrock of our continents is riddled with passages, chambers, and vast halls that have never seen the light of the sun. Consider for a moment the ground beneath you. It feels firm, unyielding. Yet, in many places around the world, just a few hundred feet below the surface, there lies a world of absolute silence. This is our destination, a place where the frenetic energy of the surface, the wind, the weather, the noise of civilization cannot reach. It is a sanctuary of stone. Let us begin with the genesis of these spaces. How does a solid rock become a room? This brings us to the concept of the solutional cave, the most common type of cave on Earth. It is a story of patience, a collaboration between the sky and the stone that spans millions of years. It begins with rain. When rain falls from the clouds, it is pure, but as it descends through our atmosphere, it picks up a small amount of carbon dioxide. This invisible gas dissolves into the droplet, transforming the water into a very weak carbonic acid. It is not harmful. It is the same acidity that gives carbonated water its gentle fizz. As this rainwater lands on the soil, it seeps down, moving through the decaying leaves and organic matter of the forest floor, where it absorbs even more carbon dioxide. By the time this water reaches the bedrock, it has become a master sculptor. If that bedrock is limestone, or dolomite, or gypsum, a chemical conversation begins. The acid in the water seeks out the calcium carbonate in the stone. Atom by atom, molecule by molecule, the rock is dissolved. This is a process so slow that it is invisible to the human eye. If you were to stand and watch it, you would see nothing but wet stone. But give it 10,000 years, give it 100,000 years, and the tiny cracks in the rock widen. They become fissures. The fissures become tunnels. The tunnels become grand hallways. This creates what geologists call a karst landscape. The word karst comes from a region on the border of Italy and Slovenia, where this topography was first studied in depth. In a karst landscape, the water does not flow in rivers on the surface. It vanishes into sinkholes, traveling underground, carving out the veins of the planet. Imagine yourself standing in a lush green field. The air is warm, smelling of summer grass. You find an opening in the hillside, a rocky archway draped in moss. This is the threshold. As we step closer, you might notice a change in the air. It is the breath of the cave. Because the temperature underground is constant, usually equal to the average annual temperature of the region above, the cave exhales cool air in the summer and inhales in the winter. Right now, it feels like a cool, refreshing breeze, inviting us out of the heat and into the shadow. We enter the twilight zone. This is the scientific term for the area of a cave near the entrance. Here, there is still some light, but it is dim, filtering in like the soft gray of dawn. The walls here might be green with algae or moss, clinging to the last reach of the sun's photons. But as we move deeper, the green fades. The rock becomes bare, revealing its true texture, rough, cool, and damp. The silence here is different. It is not simply the absence of noise. It is a physical weight, a heavy, comforting blanket. The only sound is the rhythmic plink, plank. Plink of water droplets hitting a pool in the distance. This is the heartbeat of the cave. We are now deep enough that the light from the entrance has vanished completely. We are in the zone of total darkness. In this space, our eyes can rest completely. There is no visual noise, no flickering screens, no passing shadows. Just a velvety, peaceful blackness. But in our imagination, we light a candle. The flame flickers, and suddenly, the darkness is pushed back to reveal a wonderland. We are standing in a room the size of a cathedral. The ceiling is lost in the shadows above, but descending from it are thousands of icicle-like formations. These are stalactites. You might remember from grade school that stalactites hold tight to the ceiling. They are born from that same water that carved the cave, but now the process is reversed. When a drop of mineral-rich water hangs from the ceiling of the cave, it encounters the air of the open chamber. In this air, the carbon dioxide trapped in the water is released, bubbling away invisibly. As the gas escapes, the water can no longer hold on to the mineral load it carries. It deposits a microscopic ring of calcite, the mineral form of calcium carbonate, on the ceiling. Over time, ring after ring is added. The water drop falls, but the stone remains. This is how a soda straw forms. It is the most delicate of cave formations, a hollow, translucent tube of rock having the exact diameter of a drop of water. They can grow to be feet long, yet they are as fragile as glass. If the hole in the center becomes blocked, the water begins to flow over the outside, and the straw thickens, becoming the classic cone-shaped stalactite. Directly below, on the floor of the cave, the water drop lands. Splash! It spreads out, and again, as it settles, it leaves behind a deposit of calcite. Slowly, a mound begins to rise from the floor. This is the stalagmite. A useful mnemonic is that stalagmites might reach the roof one day. They are usually thicker, more rounded than their counterparts above, battered flat by the impact of falling water. The rate of growth for these formations is humbling. It varies depending on the rainfall and the concentration of minerals, but a general rule of thumb is that a stalactite grows about 1 inch roughly every 100 years. Think about that scale of time, an inch every century. If you see a column where a stalactite and stalagmite have met and fused together, that is 20 feet tall, you are looking at a natural sculpture that began its construction before the pyramids of Egypt were conceived, perhaps before the last ice age ended. It is solidified time. As we walk through this gallery of geological art, we see forms that mimic the world above. Here is a drapery, or cave bacon. This forms when water trickles down a slanted ceiling, not falling, but sliding. It leaves a trail of calcite that builds up into a thin, wavy sheet of rock that looks exactly like a folded curtain. If you were to shine a light behind it, you would see bands of color, reds from iron, oranges from clay, creamy whites from pure calcite, glowing translucently. Look down at your feet. In a dried pool basin, there are small round stones. These are cave pearls. They form in shallow pools where falling water keeps small grains of sand in constant motion. As the grains tumble and turn, they are evenly coated in layers of calcite, becoming perfectly spherical, polished to a high sheen. They look like a clutch of dragon eggs nesting in the dark. It is easy to feel small here, but not in a way that diminishes us. We feel small in the way one feels small when looking at the ocean or the Milky Way. It is a feeling of awe. The cave is a time capsule. The air you are breathing may have entered this system weeks or months ago, filtering slowly through the cracks. The temperature has remained stable while empires rose and fell on the surface. Let us move deeper into a chamber that opens up even wider. The acoustics here are extraordinary. If you were to whisper, the sound would carry, bouncing off the wet stone walls, returning to you with a slight delay. It is a resonant, musical space. In this deep section, we might find something truly rare: helictites. Unlike the stalactites that obey gravity and grow straight down, helictites twist and turn in every direction. They look like worms or roots, curling upwards, sideways, spiraling in defiance of gravity. Science tells us they are formed by capillary forces, the same force that draws water up a paper towel, pushing the water through tiny central canals so slowly that gravity cannot claim the droplet before it deposits its mineral load. They are the rebels of the cave world, chaotic and beautiful. Now imagine the texture of the walls around us. Not all caves are made of simple dripping stone. Some are coated in flowstone. This happens when a thin film of water flows over a large surface area, coating entire walls or floors in smooth, creamy sheets of calcite that look like frozen waterfalls. They feel cool and slick to the touch, like polished marble. In the flickering light of our imaginary candle, they glisten, looking wet and alive. As we pause here, let us consider the darkness again. In the modern world, we are rarely in true darkness. There is always a street lamp, a digital clock, the moon. But here, the darkness is absolute. It is a darkness that has weight and substance. Yet, life has found a way to thrive here. This brings us to the biology of the deep. The creatures that live in these zones are classified in three ways. First, there are the troglozenes, or cave guests. These are animals like bats and bears, or even humans, who visit the cave for shelter but must return to the surface to eat. They bring energy into the cave. A colony of bats sleeping on the ceiling during the day brings nutrients from the outside world, which sustains an entire ecosystem of insects and fungi on the cave floor below. Then there are the troglophiles, creatures that like the cave and can live their whole lives here, but can also survive outside. Certain beetles and spiders fall into this category. They are the flexible residents of the underworld. But the true marvels are the troglobites. These are the permanent residents, the animals that have evolved to live only in the dark. They can never leave. If you were to bring them to the surface, the light and the temperature changes would be fatal. Because there is no light, there is no need for eyes. Evolution, in its efficiency, has selected against them. Imagine the cave fish swimming in a subterranean river. It has no eyes. Its face is smooth. It is pale, almost white, lacking any skin pigment because there is no sun to protect against. Instead of sight, it has developed a heightened sensitivity to vibration. It feels the movement of the water, the tiny ripples caused by a falling insect or a drop of water. It navigates a map of pressure and sound. There are cave crayfish, translucent and ghostly, moving slowly across the silt of a submerged floor. There are salamanders, like the olm of Europe, which was once thought to be the baby of a dragon. The olm can live for 100 years and can go for years without eating, its metabolism slowed to a crawl, matching the timeless pace of the geology around it. In some caves, like those in New Zealand, the ceiling itself seems to mimic the night sky. These are the glowworm caves. Thousands of tiny larvae hang from the roof, producing a soft blue-green bioluminescence. They create sticky threads like fishing lines that dangle down to catch insects. When you drift silently in a boat beneath them, it feels as though you are floating through deep space, the stars above you living, breathing points of light in the underground firmament. It is a gentle reminder that life is tenacious. Even in the cold, even in the dark, life finds a niche. It adapts. It slows down. Let us walk further now, descending a gentle slope. The air grows slightly more humid. We are approaching an underground river. The sound of water becomes louder, a rushing, melodic white noise that fills the mind, washing away stray thoughts. Water is the architect of this place, and it is still at work. We are witnessing a construction site, but the workers move in slow motion. This river flowing at our feet might eventually emerge miles away as a spring, feeding a forest or a village. The water here is incredibly pure. It has been filtered through hundreds of feet of rock, stripped of impurities. In the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, these underground rivers connect to create vast submerged networks. Occasionally, the roof of a cave collapses, creating a cenote, a natural well. To the ancient Maya, these were sacred portals to the underworld, the Xibalba. The water in a cenote is often so clear that it looks invisible. Floating in one, looking down, you can see the formations of the cave floor 50 feet below, as if you were flying. But here, deep in the earth, the river is dark. It flows through canyons it has carved for itself. We walk along its banks, the sand cool and soft under our feet. We are exploring the Vadose zone, the area where the cave is not filled with water, but water flows through it. Below us, somewhere deep in the saturation zone, the rock is completely soaked, holding the aquifers that sustain so much of life on the surface. Let us pause here by the riverbank. The sound is hypnotic. Rush, flow, rush, flow. It is a sound that has been echoing in this chamber for millennia. It is a lullaby of the earth. Imagine now that we are traveling to another part of the world, to the colossal chambers of the Son Dong Cave in Vietnam. This is the largest cave passage in the world. It is so large that a city block of skyscrapers could fit inside it. It is so high that clouds form inside the cave. Yes, the cave has its own weather system. Warm, moist air from the jungle outside enters the massive cavern and meets the cool air of the interior. The moisture condenses, creating misty clouds that drift through the stone halls. Sunbeams pierce through collapsed sections of the roof, illuminating a jungle that grows inside the cave. Trees, ferns, and vines thrive here, hundreds of feet below the surface of the plateau, protected by the walls of the sinkhole. It is a Garden of Eden, a lost world hidden away from the rest of the planet. Standing in such a place, the scale of the earth becomes palpable. You realize that the ground is not just a platform for us to walk on. It is a three-dimensional object with depth and complexity. We are merely living on the roof of a vast, intricate mansion. As we leave the image of the giant cavern, let us shift our senses to something different. Not all caves are cool and damp. Some are born of fire. These are the lava tubes. Unlike the limestone caves that take millions of years to dissolve, lava tubes can form in a matter of weeks during a volcanic eruption. Picture a river of molten lava flowing down the side of a volcano. The surface of the river cools and hardens into a crust of rock, insulated by the air. But beneath this crust, the lava remains liquid and hot, flowing like water in a pipe. When the eruption ends and the source of the lava stops, the pipe drains out, leaving behind a long, smooth tunnel. These caves are different. The walls are dark, often black or deep red, made of basalt. The floors can be rippled, freezing the last movements of the flowing lava in time. They are often much simpler in shape, long, tubular subways created by the Earth's internal heat. In places like Hawaii or Iceland, or even on the Moon and Mars, these tubes wait in silence. They are the veins of the volcano. And then there are the caves of ice. In the heart of a glacier, meltwater carves tunnels through the solid blue ice. These are the most ephemeral of all caves. They shift and change with the seasons. Inside, the light is ethereal, a deep, glowing sapphire blue. The ice absorbs the red parts of the light spectrum and transmits the blue, surrounding you in a cold azure light. The walls are as smooth as glass, sculpted by the wind and water. To stand inside a glacier cave is to stand inside a diamond. But let us return to the comfort of our limestone cave, the stable, unchanging shelter. We have explored the chemistry of the water, the architecture of the stalactites, the biology of the blind fish, and the scale of the giant chambers. Take a moment to feel the stillness again. In our busy lives, we are always rushing, always growing, always changing. But here, in the womb of the earth, things are allowed to be still. A stalactite does not rush to meet the floor. It takes its time. It adds one molecule, then another. It is content to wait. This is the lesson of the cave: patience, persistence, the understanding that great things, beautiful, enduring things, are built slowly, in the quiet, in the dark. As you lie there, perhaps you can feel that same sense of grounding. You are supported. The bed beneath you is supported by the floor, and the floor by the foundation, and the foundation by the earth itself. You are held up by the planet. You are safe. We move now into the crystal palaces. Deep beneath the Chihuahua Desert in Mexico, there is a cave that defies logic. It is the Cave of the Crystals. Here, the conditions were perfect. Extremely hot water, rich in gypsum, cooled down very, very slowly, over hundreds of thousands of years. This allowed crystals of selenite to grow to sizes that are hard to comprehend. Imagine beams of translucent crystal, like pillars of ice, crisscrossing a cavern. Some are as wide as a pine tree and 30 feet long. They are the largest natural crystals ever found. In this cave, humans look like miniatures standing among the playthings of giants. The crystals are soft, easily scratched, yet they have endured because they were protected in a submerged, hot, dark womb of the earth until miners accidentally drained the water. It is a vision of sharp angles and geometric perfection, hidden away in the crushing dark. And what of the history of us? Humans have always been drawn to caves. They were our first homes, our first temples, our first museums. Long before we built cities of brick and glass, we sought the shelter of the rock. In the flickering light of torches, our ancestors painted on the walls of caves in France, in Spain, in Indonesia. They painted bison, horses, lions, and the tracings of their own hands. Why? Perhaps they sought to capture the spirit of the animals they hunted. Perhaps they were telling stories. Or, perhaps like us, they simply wanted to leave a mark, to say, I was here. I existed. The cave preserved their art. The stable temperature and humidity protected the pigments for tens of thousands of years. When we look at those handprints today, we are looking across a bridge of time. We are connecting with a human who stood in that same darkness, listening to the same drip of water, feeling the same awe at the underground world. We are not so different. We all seek shelter, we all seek meaning in the dark. The air in the cave is rich with ions, clean and dust-free. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Imagine that cool, pure air filling your lungs, calming your heartbeat. The cave is a place of rest. It is a place where the frenetic energy of the sun does not reach. It is the sleeping side of the world. As we wander deeper into this imaginary cavern, the path becomes smooth sand. The ceiling lowers, making the space feel cozy and secure. We are wrapping ourselves in the blanket of the earth. There are no clocks here. Time is measured not in seconds or minutes, but in drops of water and grains of sand. It is a slow, geologic time. It is a rhythm that matches the slow, steady beat of a sleeping heart. You might notice that the rock walls sparkle as we pass. This is cave velvet, or moon milk. It is a soft, pasty deposit of minerals that never hardens, staying wet and reflective. It coats the walls like a dusting of snow, absorbing sound, making the silence even deeper. We have descended far now. The surface world is a distant memory. The traffic, the emails, the schedules, they are miles away, above the layers of limestone, sandstone, and shale. Here there is only rock, water, and peace. The concept of the hollow earth has fascinated storytellers for centuries. While we know the earth is not truly hollow in the way Jules Verne wrote, these pockets of empty space are essential. They are the lungs and the veins of the crust. They store our fresh water. They house unique life. They record the history of our climate in the rings of the stalagmites, just as trees record history in their trunks. Every cave is a library. And tonight we are simply resting in the reading room, surrounded by the stories of the earth, written in stone. Let your mind drift to the image of a single drop of water hanging from the tip of a limestone formation. It swells, heavy with calcite. It catches the light, a tiny diamond in the dark. It hangs there for a moment, suspended in time, and then it falls. Drop. It lands in a pool below, sending out perfect concentric ripples. The ripples move outward, smoothing the surface of the water until it is glass again. Stillness. We are nearing the end of our descent. We have reached a chamber of perfect comfort. The floor is soft, dry sand. The air is the perfect temperature. The darkness is warm and inviting. This is the Hall of Sleep. Here, the columns of rock stand like sentinels guarding your rest. The flowstone walls embrace the space. You are deep within the geode of the world. As I speak, the narrative of the cave slows down. The geologic processes pause. The water stops dripping. The wind stops blowing. Everything comes to a halt, waiting for you to join it in slumber. We have journeyed from the stars to the soil, from the rain to the river, from the light to the dark. We have seen the architecture of time and the biology of the night. We have walked in the footsteps of our ancestors and floated in the crystal waters of the cenotes. Now it is time to let the cave hold you. Imagine yourself curling up in this safe, quiet space. The weight of the earth above you is not heavy. It is a shield, blocking out the noise, blocking out the light, blocking out the worry. You are insulated. You are grounded. The darkness of the cave is the same darkness that is behind your closed eyelids. It is a canvas for your dreams. Drift along the underground river of your subconscious. Let the current take you. There is no need to paddle. There is no need to steer. The water knows where to go. It flows down, 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 towards the deep, restful center of sleep. Good night, friend. The earth is holding you. The stars are watching from above. But here in the deep, you are safe. Sleep well. Hello again, friend, and welcome back to the deep, quiet comfort of the world beneath our feet. We left you resting in the Hall of Sleep, a chamber of perfect stillness, shielded by the gentle weight of the world. Perhaps you drifted for a moment, suspended in that perfect, timeless dark. But the story of the earth is never truly still. It is a story of slow, constant movement, and the author of that movement is water. So listen. Listen past the silence. Can you hear it? A faint, melodic whisper. A murmur. It is the sound of the earth's own circulatory system, the gentle pulse of the aquifers. Let that sound be your guide as we leave the Hall of Perfect Stillness and drift deeper into the silence of the water. The ground beneath us, which feels so solid, is in fact a sponge, a vast, complex matrix of rock and soil filled with water. This is the groundwater, the lifeblood of our continents, and the caves we have been exploring are the main arteries. They are the superhighways for this silent, flowing world. We are walking now, our imaginary footsteps making no sound on the damp sand, following this gentle music. The air becomes heavy with the clean, mineral scent of fresh water. We have entered a passage carved not just by the patient dissolving of rock, but by the persistent flow of a river that has run through this channel for longer than humanity has known civilization. This is the heart of hydrogeology, the study of how water moves through the planet's crust. It is a slow and silent dance. A water molecule that falls as rain on a hillside might take 50 years, 100 years, or even 10,000 years to filter down through the rock and join the river that flows now at our side. This water is ancient. It has been on a long journey of purification. As it passed through the layers of stone, it left behind any impurities from the surface world. It is clear in a way that surface water can never be. It is pristine. If you were to dip your hand into this subterranean stream, it would feel cool, almost silky. It carries with it the dissolved memory of the limestone it has traveled through, a faint taste of the heart of the mountain. In many parts of the world, this is the water that emerges from springs, the water people have called sweet water for generations, without ever knowing the great, dark filtration system from which it came. The river beside us flows gently, but it is powerful. Given 1,000,000 years, it can move a mountain, one grain of sand at a time. As we follow its course, the tunnel begins to widen. The ceiling rises, lifting up into the darkness beyond the reach of our soft light. The sound of the water changes. It is no longer a simple flowing whisper, but a deeper resonance, echoing in a space of profound scale. We have arrived in one of the great chambers, a place that reminds us of our own smallness in the grand cosmic scheme. Let us travel in our minds to the state of Kentucky, in the United States, to a place called Mammoth Cave. It is not named for the extinct animal, but for the mammoth size of its passages. This is the longest known cave system in the world. As of today, we have mapped more than 400 miles of interconnected tunnels, and we are still discovering more. It is not one cave, but a labyrinth, a city beneath the earth. Imagine drifting on a boat on the Echo River, one of the underground streams that flows through Mammoth Cave. The ceiling above you is a constellation of white gypsum crystals, sparkling like stars. The guide on your boat might ask for silence, and in that silence you can hear the cave breathing. The only sound is the gentle lapping of the water against the hull. If you were to call out, your voice would travel across the water, strike the distant wall, and return to you as a clear, perfect echo, a ghost of your own making. It is a place of profound acoustics, a natural concert hall designed by the patient hand of water. Entire lifetimes have been spent exploring these passages, mapping them, trying to understand their full extent. And still, the cave holds its secrets. We do not know where it ends. It is a frontier, right here, beneath our own feet. Now, let us imagine a different kind of scale, not length, but depth. We travel to the Caucasus Mountains, to the Veryovkina Cave, currently recognized as the deepest cave on Earth. Its entrance is high in a mountain pass, but from there it descends and descends and descends. It is a vertical journey, a descent of over 7,200 feet. That is nearly 1.5 miles straight down into the crust of the planet. To explore such a place is an undertaking of immense complexity, reserved for the most skilled and dedicated cavers. It is more like an underwater expedition or a journey into space. They descend on ropes through narrow passages called squeezes into vast, cold chambers. They set up camps deep within the cave, living in the absolute dark for weeks at a time. The journey down is a journey back in time. The rock layers they pass through are pages in the Earth's diary. At the very bottom of this cave is a terminal sump, a pool of water that blocks further passage. The water in this pool is the end of the line for the rainwater that fell on the mountain above. From here, it will seep even deeper, perhaps not emerging for millennia. To stand at the edge of this pool is to stand at one of the lowest known points inside a continent. It is a place of incredible pressure and absolute silence. It is as close as one can get to the quiet heart of the world. To feel such scale, such length, and such depth is humbling. It recalibrates our sense of place. We live on a thin, fragile skin of a planet that is vast and deep and ancient. And in these immense, silent spaces, life has found a way to exist, in forms that are as strange and wonderful as anything we might imagine on another planet. Let us return to the darkness and consider these inhabitants once more. We spoke of the pale eyeless fish, a classic example of a troglobite. But why do they lose their eyes? From an evolutionary perspective, eyes are expensive. It takes a lot of biological energy to build and maintain an eye. And in a world where there are no photons to collect, an eye is useless hardware. Over thousands of generations, any mutation that resulted in a creature spending less energy on useless eyes would be favored. That creature would have more energy for finding food, for reproduction, for survival. So evolution selects for blindness. The eyes shrink, recede, and are eventually covered over with skin. It is not a loss, but an adaptation, a refinement, a specialization for a world of utter blackness. In place of sight, these creatures develop what we might call supersenses. The cave salamander can detect the faint electrical field of another creature moving through the water. The cave crayfish has antennae that can taste the water, detecting the chemical signature of decaying matter, its next meal, from yards away. They live in a world of texture, of pressure, of chemistry, and of sound. And what of the bats we mentioned, those troglodytes, or cave guests? Their contribution to the cave ecosystem is vital, but their method of navigating this complex, three-dimensional world in total darkness is a marvel of biological engineering. It is called echolocation. As a bat flies through a passage, it emits a stream of high-frequency sounds, clicks, and calls far above the range of human hearing. These sound waves travel out, bounce off the walls, the ceiling, a stalactite, a moth fluttering in the darkness. The bat's large, sensitive ears collect the returning echoes. Its brain processes these echoes with a speed and complexity that rivals our most advanced computers. The time it takes for the echo to return tells the bat the distance to an object. The difference in the sound arriving at each ear tells it the direction. The texture of the echo, whether it is sharp or soft, can tell the bat if the object is hard rock or the soft body of an insect. In an instant, the bat builds a detailed, three-dimensional map of its surroundings in its mind. It is seeing with sound. It can navigate the most complex passages at high speed, avoiding obstacles and hunting its prey with stunning precision. To witness a colony of bats emerging from a cave at dusk is to see a river of life flowing out into the night, each individual a master navigator of the dark. But perhaps the most extraordinary form of life in the deep is one that breaks the fundamental rule we are all taught in school. We learn that all life on Earth depends on the sun. Plants capture sunlight through photosynthesis. Animals eat the plants. Other animals eat those animals. The sun is the ultimate source of energy. But this is not entirely true. In a few rare caves, like the Movile Cave in Romania, scientists have discovered a completely sealed ecosystem. It has been cut off from the surface world for over 5 million years. The air inside is different, rich in hydrogen sulfide and methane. And the life here does not depend on the sun. It depends on chemistry. Microscopic bacteria feed directly on the chemicals in the water, a process called chemosynthesis. They are the producers, the plants of this ecosystem. And an entire food web of strange, pale creatures, spiders, scorpions, leeches, has evolved to live on these bacteria. They have been living in isolation, in the dark, feeding on the rock itself for millions of years. Discoveries like this are profound. They tell us that life may not need light. It may not need a sun like ours. Life could exist in the dark oceans beneath the icy shell of Jupiter's moon Europa, or deep within the rocks of Mars, feeding on whatever chemical energy it can find. The caves of our own planet are a laboratory for astrobiology, hinting at the possibilities for life throughout the cosmos. Life is not a miracle that happened only once, in one way. Life is a fundamental property of chemical systems, a cosmic imperative, finding a way to exist wherever there is a niche, even in the eternal night. This eternal night was also humanity's first sanctuary. Let us drift now from the deep future of astrobiology to the deep past of our own species. For hundreds of thousands of years, caves were not just places of wonder, but places of survival. They were our first homes. Imagine an evening 40,000 years ago. A small family of early humans is gathered deep inside a cave. Outside, the world is filled with predators and the biting cold of the Ice Age. But here, in the belly of the rock, they are safe. A fire crackles in the center of the chamber, its light dancing on the stone walls. The smoke curls up and finds its way out through a fissure in the ceiling. The fire provides warmth, light, and protection. It allows them to cook their food, making it easier to digest. The cave is their fortress. The stable, unchanging temperature of the cave would have been a profound comfort. It was a shelter from the raging blizzards of winter and the scorching heat of summer. It was a constant. And in this constant, stable environment, a new kind of human expression began to flourish: art. Let's travel to the Chauvet Cave in southern France. Discovered only in 1994, it contains some of the oldest and most well-preserved figurative cave paintings in the world. They are over 30,000 years old. Because of a rockfall that sealed the entrance 20,000 years ago, the cave was a perfect time capsule. The air, the humidity, the temperature, all preserved. Inside, in the flickering light of our imagination, we see the walls come alive. These are not crude drawings, they are masterpieces. There are lions, captured in the act of hunting. There are mammoths and rhinoceroses and horses that seem to gallop across the undulating surfaces of the rock. The artists used the natural curves and bulges of the cave wall to give their paintings a three-dimensional quality. They used charcoal for black and ochre for reds and yellows. They understood perspective, shading, and movement. Why did they do this? Why did they venture so deep into the dangerous dark with only the flickering light of a torch to create these galleries? We will likely never know for sure. Perhaps it was part of a ritual, a shamanic journey into the spirit world. Perhaps they were telling the stories of their great hunts. Or perhaps it was simply art for art's sake, the timeless human impulse to capture the beauty and the power of the world around us. Think of the acoustics in some of these painted chambers. Archaeologists have discovered that the most elaborately painted sections of some caves are also the places with the most resonance. If you were to chant or sing or play a simple bone flute in these chambers, the sound would be magnified, creating a powerful, immersive experience. It's possible these caves were our first cathedrals, places of ceremony and sound, where our ancestors connected with something larger than themselves. The cave is a gentle keeper of secrets. Its stable environment, free from the wind and rain and temperature swings of the surface, is the perfect preservative. It is not only art that survives. In caves, we have found the fossilized bones of extinct animals, like the cave bear. We have found the preserved footprints of children who played in the soft mud of a cave floor tens of thousands of years ago. In the Denisova cave in Siberia, the cool, dry conditions preserved a fragment of a finger bone so perfectly that scientists were able to extract ancient DNA from it. That DNA revealed an entirely new branch of the human family tree, the Denisovans, a sister species to the Neanderthals, who lived alongside our own ancestors. Without the protecting embrace of the cave, this part of our own story would have been lost forever. The cave is our collective memory, written in stone and bone and pigment. To be in a cave is to feel a connection to that deep history, to the long, unbroken chain of humanity that stretches back into the mists of time. And so we have come full circle. We began with water, the patient sculptor. We followed it into the deepest and longest parts of the earth. We saw the strange life that this water supports in the darkness. And we saw how this water-carved shelter became the cradle of our own consciousness, our first home, our first temple. Let us return now to the gentle sound of the underground river. Its journey is nearing ours, and so is ours. This water, after its long pilgrimage through the rock, will eventually find its way back to the surface. It will emerge from a spring, bubbling up into the sunlight, to join a creek, then a river, and finally the great ocean. And from the ocean it will evaporate and form clouds and fall again as rain, beginning the cycle once more. Your own journey into sleep is much the same. You retreat from the light and noise of the waking world, descending into the quiet, dark spaces of your own mind. You let go of the day. You allow yourself to be carried by the gentle currents of drowsiness. And in the morning you will emerge, refreshed and renewed, ready to begin the cycle again. Feel that cycle now. With every breath you are descending deeper. The rhythm of your breathing is the rhythm of the dripping water. In and out. Slow and steady. The darkness behind your eyes is the peaceful, comforting darkness of the cave. It is a safe space, a quiet space, a space for rest. Our exploration is complete. We have touched upon 100 facts, 100 points of wonder in the world beneath our feet. But these facts are not meant to be remembered. They are seeds of peace, planted in the mind to blossom into restful dreams. The sound of the water is fading now. We have drifted to a still, silent pool, deep in the heart of the earth. The surface of the water is a perfect mirror, reflecting a darkness that is absolute. There are no more echoes. There is no more movement. There is only the profound, heavy, comforting peace of the deep. This is where we leave you, friend, floating in the stillness, grounded in the ancient rock. Become one with the silence of the stone. Let the last of your thoughts dissolve, like salt in the clear water. Let your body feel heavy, supported, and utterly at peace. From this great depth, sleep is not a fall, but a gentle rising, a release, a return to the cosmic ocean from which we all came. Sleep well, dream deep. The cave will keep you safe until the morning. Welcome back, friend. You have been resting here, in the heart of the earth, floating in a pool of perfect stillness. The silence has been your blanket, the darkness your comfort. There has been no time here, no day, no night, only a deep and profound peace. But our journey is not quite over. The universe beneath our feet contains as many worlds as the sky above, each with its own climate, its own architecture, its own story. Allow a gentle current to form in the still water, a current that is not of water, but of air. It is a subtle shift in the atmosphere, a new scent on the cool, damp breeze. It smells of something ancient, something dry, and it carries with it the faintest memory of heat. This new current invites us to follow, to leave the damp limestone passages we have come to know, and to explore a different kind of cavern, born not of water, but of fire. We drift toward an opening in the rock, a perfectly circular tunnel that seems out of place in this world of dissolved stone. The walls here are not the familiar creamy white of calcite, but a deep, dark black, like solidified night. As we pass through this threshold, the cool dampness fades, replaced by a dry, neutral air. The sound of dripping water is gone. The silence here is different. It is a brittle, echoing silence. We have left the world of limestone and entered a lava tube. These are the planet's volcanic veins. While the solutional caves we have explored are the result of a slow, patient dissolving over millions of years, a lava tube is a place of geologic immediacy. It can be formed in a matter of days or weeks. Imagine a river of incandescent lava, a glowing artery of molten rock flowing from the heart of a volcano. The surface of this river, exposed to the cooler air, begins to solidify, forming a dark crust. This crust thickens, creating a roof over the still flowing lava. It becomes an insulated pipe, a tunnel that allows the molten rock to travel for miles and miles beneath the surface, remaining incredibly hot. When the eruption ceases and the source of the lava is cut off, the river within the tube drains away, flowing out at the bottom of the slope, leaving behind the hollow space it once occupied. What remains is a cave, a perfect subterranean tunnel, a frozen memory of a fiery river. Let us walk through this space. The floor beneath our feet is rippled like the surface of a frozen stream. This is called pahoho lava, a Hawaiian word that describes smooth, ropey flows. You can trace with your eyes the last movements of the molten rock before it came to rest. The walls are dark and glassy in places, coated in a black volcanic glaze. They feel strangely smooth, yet gritty to the touch, like fine sandpaper. Look up at the ceiling. Here you might see what are known as lava cycles. They are the volcanic equivalent of stalactites, but they were not formed by dripping water. They were formed by the intense heat of the draining lava remelting the ceiling, causing it to drip. These drips then cooled and hardened in place. They are sharp, glassy, and delicate, a testament to the incredible temperatures that once filled this space. Unlike stalactites, they did not grow over centuries. They were formed in a flash of geologic time, in a matter of minutes or hours. This cave feels ancient, yet it carries an energy of immense power. It is a place that was once a conduit for the creative and destructive force of the planet's core. To stand here is to stand inside a process that builds new land, that shapes the very face of the Earth. Let us travel in our minds to the island of Hawaii, home to some of the longest and most spectacular lava tubes on Earth. The Kazumura Cave, for example, is a single lava tube that stretches for more than 40 miles. It is a subterranean highway, a hidden passage from the flank of the Kilauea volcano all the way to the sea. To explore it is to walk through a geologic event that is still happening. Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. The ground here is young and still warm. And this phenomenon is not unique to our planet. When we look at images of the Moon or Mars, we see long, winding channels called sinuous rills. For a long time, we thought they might have been carved by water, but we now believe that most of them are collapsed lava tubes. The Moon and Mars had vast volcanic eruptions in their distant past, far larger than any we have seen on Earth. They created enormous lava tubes. These tubes, still intact beneath the surface, are a source of great interest for the future of space exploration. On the Moon, the surface is a place of extremes. It is bombarded by radiation, micrometeorites, and it swings from scorching heat to unimaginable cold every 2 weeks. But inside a lava tube, the temperature would be stable. The thick basalt roof would provide a natural shield from radiation. These caves could be our future homes on other worlds. They could be the shelters where the first human colonies on the Moon or Mars are built, protected by the planet itself. It is a beautiful thought that the same geological process that created shelters for early life on Earth might one day shelter us as we venture out into the cosmos. The cave, once again, is our sanctuary. But for now, let us leave this dry, dark, silent world of fire and travel to its opposite. Let us imagine we are transported now to a place of immense cold. We stand at the edge of a great glacier, a river of ice that flows in slow motion, carving a valley between mountain peaks. From here, we can see an opening at the base of the ice, a mouth of impossible blue. This is a glacial cave. As we step inside, we enter a world of pure light and color. We are no longer in a cave of rock, but a cave of frozen water. The air is cold, clean, and still, and everything, from the walls to the ceiling, is glowing with an intense, ethereal sapphire light. It feels as though we are standing inside a gemstone. Where does this color come from? It is the result of the ice itself. Glacial ice is very different from the ice in your freezer. It has been formed over centuries from snow that has been compressed under its own weight. This process squeezes out all the tiny air bubbles, making the ice incredibly dense and clear. When sunlight penetrates this dense ice, the ice crystals absorb the red and yellow wavelengths of the light spectrum. The only color that is able to pass through is blue, so the light that emerges inside the cave is a pure, unearthly blue. The walls are not rough like rock, but smooth, polished like glass by the wind and the flow of meltwater. They are translucent. You can see deep into the body of the glacier. See the layers of ancient snowfall, the faint lines that mark the passage of years. The silence here is not the silence of stone. It is a living silence. You can hear the glacier itself. Faint creaks and groans, the sound of immense weight shifting. It is the sound of the ice river moving, flowing, a millimeter at a time. And you can hear the sound of water, the architect of this temporary palace. In the summer, meltwater on the surface of the glacier finds a crack, a moulin, and pours down into the heart of the glacier, carving these tunnels and chambers. These caves are ephemeral. They are constantly changing. A cave that exists this winter may be gone by next summer. The passage you walk through today might be closed tomorrow by the glacier's slow, powerful movement. They are beautiful precisely because they are temporary. They are a fleeting expression of the dance between sun and ice. To explore these caves requires great care and respect. They are a reminder that the world is in constant motion, a system of cycles and flows. The ice of this glacier will one day melt, and its water will flow to the sea and eventually evaporate to become clouds and snow, which will fall on the mountains and feed the glacier once more. It is the same great water cycle that carves the limestone caves, but here, in the heart of the ice, we can feel its pulse in a more immediate way. We have felt the memory of fire in the lava tube. We have felt the deep cold of the ice cave. Now, let us journey to a place that combines these elements, a place where the Earth's inner heat has created a subterranean world of unparalleled beauty and form. Let us descend once more, deep into the rock, to explore the crystal palaces. We travel to the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico, to a working mine deep beneath the surface. In the year 2000, miners drilling a new tunnel accidentally broke into a chamber that took their breath away. They had discovered a place that shouldn't exist, a place that seems to come from a dream or another planet. They called it Cueva de los Cristales, the Cave of the Crystals. Let us imagine we are there. The journey down is a descent into heat. We are nearly 1,000 feet underground, and the rock here is warmed by a body of magma that lies miles below. As we enter the cavern, the air is thick, hot, and heavy with moisture. It is over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity approaching 100%. It is a difficult environment for a human, a place where one can only stay for a short time. But these conditions are precisely what created the miracle within. In the soft glow of our lights, the cave is revealed. We are standing in a forest of crystals. Giant, milky white beams of selenite, a form of the mineral gypsum, crisscross the cavern in every direction. They are not like the small crystals you might find in a museum. These are the largest crystals ever discovered on Earth. Some are over 35 feet long and weigh more than 50 tons. They are the size of telephone poles, of ancient trees. They are luminous, translucent, and perfectly formed. We move through this space with the utmost care. The crystal beams are soft and fragile. A careless step could damage a structure that took 500,000 years to form. How did this happen? For hundreds of thousands of years, this cavern was filled with hot, mineral-rich water. The temperature of this water was held at a perfect, stable point, just below the temperature at which gypsum transforms into another mineral. It was the Goldilocks zone. And in this perfectly stable, hot, watery womb, the gypsum crystals had the time and the space to grow, uninterrupted, to these colossal sizes. It is a geological singularity, a place where a precise and rare set of conditions were maintained for an unimaginably long period of time. Looking at these giant, silent forms, you feel a sense of time that is almost overwhelming. They began to grow before our own species, Homo sapiens, had even left Africa. They grew through ice ages. They grew through the rise and fall of every civilization we have ever known. They grew in perfect darkness and silence, waiting. The cave was a time capsule. When the mining company pumped the water out of the surrounding tunnels, they inadvertently drained this chamber, revealing its treasure to the world. And now scientists work to study it and to preserve it before the crystals begin to dehydrate and lose their ethereal luster in the open air. It is a fragile paradise. And while the Cave of the Crystals is the most extreme example, it is a beautiful reminder that caves are the Earth's jewelry boxes. The minerals that color the walls of a cave are a palette of extraordinary beauty. The slow seepage of water through different kinds of rock brings with it a variety of elements, and these elements paint the cave in subtle hues. Imagine a drapery formation, that beautiful curtain-like sheet of calcite. If the water that formed it passed through soil rich in iron, the drapery will be streaked with bands of red and orange, looking for all the world like a slice of bacon. This is where the formation gets its nickname, cave bacon. If the water carries copper minerals, it can leave behind stunning deposits of green malachite or brilliant blue azurite. In some caves, the walls are coated in a fine, sparkling layer of gypsum crystals that look like a dusting of diamonds. Or perhaps you might find a formation called an anthodite, a spray of long, needle-like crystals of aragonite, another form of calcium carbonate, that radiates outward from a central point, looking like a firework frozen in mid-explosion. Let us visit, in our minds, Kartchner Caverns in Arizona. This is a living cave, which means its formations are still actively growing. It was kept a secret for years by its discoverers to protect its pristine condition. Inside, the variety of formations is breathtaking. There is a column of calcite that is over 50 feet tall, one of the largest in the world. There are soda straws so delicate and so long they defy gravity. And there is one of the world's longest brushite moon milk formations, a soft, creamy white deposit that covers over 90 square feet of the cave floor. The colors and textures in these places are a direct reflection of the geology of the region above. The cave is an artwork painted by the mountain itself. Each drop of water is a brushstroke, and the canvas is 1,000,000 years wide. To walk through such a decorated cavern is to walk through a natural museum, a gallery where every exhibit is a masterpiece of chemistry and time. From the black basalt of the lava tube, to the sapphire blue of the glacial ice, to the diamond and opal gleam of the crystal palaces, the underground world is a place of unexpected color, texture, and light. It is a universe of contrasts, of extremes, all hidden away just beneath the surface of our everyday world. We have traveled far on this journey. We have seen how caves are born of water, of fire, and of ice. We have explored their immense scale, their hidden life, and the treasures they hold, both cultural and mineral. We have connected with our deepest past and looked toward our future in the cosmos. And now it is time for our journey to come to a close. It is time to return to the simple, comforting darkness from which we started. Let us leave the dazzling light of the crystals and the ice and find our way back to a quiet, simple chamber. A place with a floor of soft sand and a ceiling that is lost in a peaceful, velvety black. Find a comfortable place here. Let the wonders we have seen fade into soft, pleasant memories. Let the facts and the figures dissolve. What remains is the feeling of safety, the feeling of stillness, the feeling of being connected to something ancient, vast, and deeply peaceful. This is the gift of the cave. It is a place that strips away the non-essential. In the cave, it does not matter what day it is. It does not matter what time it is. All that matters is the slow, steady rhythm of the earth, the drop of water, the grain of sand, the beat of your own resting heart. As you prepare now for the final descent into sleep, let us return to that cosmic perspective we began with. Think of our Earth, this blue and white marble spinning silently in the vastness of space. From out here, it looks smooth, perfect. But we know now that it is not solid. It is a geode, a beautiful stone that, if you could crack it open, would reveal a hidden interior of stunning crystals and secret chambers. You are inside that geode now. You are in the heart of the jewel. You are safe from the vacuum of space, protected by the layers of atmosphere and crust and rock. The narration from here will begin to slow down. The spaces between the words will grow longer. This is to give you time. Time for your mind to settle. Time for your body to let go. The journey we have taken tonight is a mirror of the journey into sleep. We began on the surface, in the world of light and stimulation, and we have slowly, gently made our way down into the quiet, the dark, the still. Each fact we explored was a step down. Each cavern we entered was a deeper level of relaxation. Now we have reached the bottom, the final chamber, and there is nothing left to do but rest. Let your breathing be the only movement, a slow, gentle tide, in and out. Feel the weight of your body. Let it be heavy. Let it sink into the softness of your bed. The bed is holding you. The earth is holding you. You are completely supported. The story is over. The exploration is done. The final fact is this: you are now in a place of perfect peace. And from this peace, sleep will emerge, as naturally and as gently as a spring bubbling up from the deep. The silence of the cave is now your silence. The stillness of the stone is now your stillness. Become one with the great, slow peace of the earth. Drift now. Float. There is nothing left to hold on to. Let the current of sleep carry you away into a deep and dreamless slumber. Sleep well, friend. Sleep well. And so you rest here, in the final chamber, a place of absolute peace, at the very heart of stillness. The journey is complete. The outside world, with its light and its noise, is a distant star, a forgotten dream. Here there is only the gentle dark, the ancient stone, and the slow, steady rhythm of your own quiet breathing. You have traveled so far tonight, not across land or sea, but down through the layers of the earth and through the layers of time. You have become a geologist of the soul, an explorer of the deep. Let us, for a moment in this peaceful state, allow the memories of our journey to drift past, not as sharp facts to be held, but as soft watercolor images, floating in the calm water of the mind. Do you remember the beginning? We stood beneath the vast open sky, looking at the scattered stars. And then we turned our gaze downward, to the ground beneath our feet, and found a universe just as vast, just as mysterious. We found the gentle invitation of a cave entrance, the cool air that breathed from the heart of the mountain. We stepped across the threshold, into the twilight zone, where the last of the sun's light faded to a soft, peaceful gray. And we learned the secret of the cave's birth. We learned of the rain falling from the sky, gathering a tiny spark of acid from the air. We followed a single drop of this water on its long journey down through the soil, into a crack in the limestone. And we understood that this great cathedral of stone was not built, but unbuilt. It was carved by the softest, most patient of sculptors, a single drop of water, repeated a billion times over 1,000,000 years. A lesson in the power of gentle persistence. From there we ventured deeper, into the zone of absolute night, and in the soft glow of our imagination, we discovered the architecture of time. The slow, patient drip from the ceiling, leaving behind a microscopic ring of calcite. A process so slow it makes a century seem like a moment. We saw the soda straws, hollow and delicate. We saw the great stalactites holding tight to the ceiling, and the patient stalagmites on the floor rising up to meet them. We saw them join in a silent embrace to form a column, a pillar of solidified time that recorded the history of the climate in its very rings. We saw the frozen waterfalls of flowstone, the shimmering curtains of cave bacon, and the perfectly round, polished cave pearls nurtured by the constant agitation of the water. In the profound silence of these halls, we discovered that life finds a way. We met the troglobites, the true children of the dark, the pale, eyeless fish navigating with a map of pressure and vibration, the ghostly crayfish and the ancient salamanders, with metabolism slowed to match the geologic pace of their world. We heard the whisper-soft flutter of bat wings and marveled at their ability to see with sound, painting a detailed picture of the world in their minds from a symphony of echoes. We even found life that did not need the sun at all, a sealed ecosystem that fed on the very chemistry of the rock, a hint that life might be a cosmic imperative, waiting to bloom in the dark oceans of distant moons. We felt the scale of the earth in the giants of the deep. We imagined ourselves in the Sand Dune Cave, a passage so vast it contains its own jungle, its own clouds, its own weather. We stood in awe of a space that could hold a skyscraper, a space that reminds us that we live on the thin crust of a world with immense and hidden dimensions. We followed the maps of Mammoth Cave, a labyrinth with no known end, a frontier that lies not in the stars, but right here beneath our feet. We descended, in our minds, nearly 1.5 miles into the planet's crust, to the bottom of the world's deepest cave, a place of crushing pressure and humbling silence. We left the familiar world of limestone and journeyed into caverns born of fire and ice. We walked through the dark, glassy tunnels of a lava tube, a frozen memory of a river of molten rock, a place of geologic speed and power, a hint of the kind of shelters our descendants might one day find on the Moon or Mars. Then we shifted to its opposite, stepping into the ethereal, sapphire blue light of a glacial cave. We stood inside a gemstone, a temporary palace carved from a river of ice, feeling the slow, immense movement of the glacier all around us, a beautiful, fleeting masterpiece of sun and water. We visited the Earth's own jewelry box, the crystal palaces deep underground. We felt the intense, humid heat of the Cave of the Crystals in Mexico, and stood in wonder before a forest of giant selenite beams, the largest crystals ever found. Luminous, perfect forms that grew in a hot, dark, silent womb for 500,000 years, a geological miracle of stability and time. And we saw how the Earth paints its own masterpieces with minerals, the reds of iron, the greens of copper, the sparkling diamonds of gypsum frost. And finally, we found ourselves. We found the memory of our own ancestors. We imagined a family 40,000 years ago seeking shelter from the Ice Age in the safe, constant warmth of a cave. We saw the flickering light of their fire on the stone walls, and we saw the art they left behind. The powerful images of lions and horses galloping across the rock. The simple, profound outline of a human hand. A message across the millennia, saying, "We were here. We were alive." We felt the deep connection to our shared human story, born in the shelter of the rock. We followed the water, the unifying thread of our entire journey, into the silence of the aquifers. We understood the cave as a vital part of the Earth's circulatory system, a filter that purifies our drinking water, a hidden network of rivers and lakes that sustain the world above. And so we came to rest, here, in this final, quiet place. 100 facts, 100 steps on a journey downward, away from the busy surface of the mind, and into the still, quiet center of your being. The facts can fade now. They have served their purpose. They were the gentle, guiding current that brought your ship of consciousness into this calm, safe harbor. From this deep place, let us begin our final ascent, not back to the surface, but outward, into the cosmos. Let your awareness expand, rising up from this chamber, through the hundreds of feet of solid rock above you. Feel yourself pass through the limestone, the sandstone, the soil. Feel yourself emerge from the ground into the cool night air. Rise higher still, above the trees, above the mountains, until you can see the curve of the earth. Watch the continents with their glowing cities slide by beneath you. See the great swirling patterns of the clouds, the deep, dark blue of the oceans. Continue to drift upward until the earth itself is a beautiful blue and white sphere hanging in the velvet blackness, a marble of impossible beauty. From here, you cannot see the borders of nations. You cannot hear the noise of civilization. You see only a single, unified, living world. And you know its secret now. You know that this beautiful, smooth-looking sphere is not solid. It is a geode. It is a cosmic jewel, and its surface is just the beginning of its beauty. You know that hidden within its crust are the crystal palaces, the vast cathedrals of stone, the silent, flowing rivers, the lost worlds we have just explored. The earth is a honeycomb of wonders, a library of time, and you have just been resting in one of its quietest, most peaceful rooms. Our planet is a spaceship carrying all of us through the cosmos. And tonight, you have found the quietest cabin on that ship, a place deep inside, shielded from the vast, cold emptiness of space, rocked gently by the planet's silent, spinning motion. Now, let us bring our awareness back, back from the cold of space, back through the warm blanket of the atmosphere, and back down, into the comfort and safety of your own room. Feel the gentle weight of your body. Feel the softness of the surface that supports you. You are not in a cave of stone, but you have found the same peace, the same stillness. The darkness behind your closed eyes is your own private cave. It is a space of perfect safety, a space of absolute quiet. There is nothing here that you need to do. There is nothing you need to figure out. All of the complexity of the world has been distilled down to this one simple, peaceful moment. Your breathing is the only rhythm now. It is the new heartbeat of the cave, a slow, gentle, effortless tide. Each breath in is calm, each breath out is release. With every breath, you let go just a little bit more. You are becoming one with the stillness of the stone. Your body is heavy, grounded, and at rest. Your mind is clear, like a deep, still pool of cave water. There are no more words now, only the fading echo of a journey. The journey is over, and now there is only rest. The deep, restorative rest that your body and mind have been waiting for. Let the last remnants of thought dissolve. Let them drift away like wisps of cloud in a vast, subterranean sky. There is only darkness now, a warm, soft, comforting darkness. Embrace it. Float in it. This darkness is your friend. It is the beginning of sleep. And so now, you drift, down and down, into a peace that is deeper than any cave. Sleep now. Sleep deep. Sleep.